What if I told you that science has already discovered the fastest possible way to improve your English, and almost nobody is using it? Not because it is hard, not because it is expensive, but simply because nobody ever told you it existed. Until right now. Welcome back to Fluent Speak Lab, the channel that brings you real science, real strategies, and real results for your English speaking journey. Every single video here is built on one promise: no fluff, no fake shortcuts, just the honest truth about what actually works. If you are serious about improving your English faster than you ever thought possible, subscribe right now, because today I am giving you the most powerful English improvement method that research has ever found. Let me start with something that might completely change how you think about learning English. For decades, researchers in neuroscience, linguistics, and cognitive psychology have been studying one specific question: how does the human brain acquire language? Not how should we teach language, not what grammar rules should we follow, but literally, at the level of neurons and synapses and brain chemistry. What actually happens inside the brain when a person successfully learns to speak a new language fluently? And after decades of research, after thousands of studies, after brain scans and behavioral experiments and longitudinal research following language learners for years, the science has converged on a surprisingly clear answer. The human brain acquires language fastest through two specific mechanisms, and almost every traditional English learning method activates neither of them. Mechanism 1 is called implicit learning. This is the process by which your brain absorbs patterns, language patterns, automatically and unconsciously, through repeated exposure in meaningful contexts. Implicit learning does not require conscious effort. It does not require you to understand a rule before you use it. It works the same way a child learns their first language, by being surrounded by the language in real, meaningful, emotionally engaging situations until the patterns sink in below the level of conscious thought. When you watch an English show that genuinely excites, your brain is doing implicit learning. When you listen to an English podcast about something you deeply care about, your brain is doing implicit learning. When you have a real conversation in English about something that actually matters to you, your brain is doing implicit learning. The key ingredient is always the same: genuine engagement with meaning. Your brain is not processing grammar. It is processing experience. And language gets absorbed as part of that experience. Mechanism 2 is called retrieval practice. This is where neuroscience gets genuinely fascinating. Research consistently shows that the act of retrieving information from memory, pulling it out, using it, is dramatically more powerful for long-term retention and automaticity than the act of putting information in through studying. In plain terms, speaking English builds fluency faster than studying English. Every time you retrieve a word, a phrase, a sentence structure, and produce it in real speech, you strengthen that neural pathway more powerfully than any amount of rereading or restudying ever could. These are the two mechanisms: implicit learning through meaningful exposure, and retrieval practice through real speaking output. Together, they are the engine of rapid language acquisition, and the science is not ambiguous about this. Study after study, researcher after researcher confirms the same fundamental truth. The fastest path to English fluency runs directly through these two mechanisms. Everything else is significantly slower. Now, here is where things get genuinely uncomfortable. Because once you understand these two brain mechanisms, implicit learning and retrieval practice, you can look at how most English learners spend their time and immediately see the problem. Think about a typical English learning session. A learner sits down with a grammar textbook or an app. They read an explanation of a grammar rule. They do some fill-in-the-blank exercises. They review a vocabulary list. They maybe watch a video that explains English to them in their native language. They feel productive. They feel like they are studying. They feel like they are making progress. But what brain mechanisms are they actually activating? They are activating explicit learning, conscious, effortful, rule-based study, which is a real brain process, but research consistently shows it is the slowest and least durable pathway to language fluency. Explicitly learned rules are stored in a different part of the brain than implicitly acquired language. And under the pressure of real conversation, under time pressure, under social pressure, explicit knowledge is incredibly difficult to access in real time. It requires too many conscious steps. It is too slow for natural speech and retrieval practice. In a typical study session, there is almost none. The learner is putting information in, not pulling it out. They are reading, not speaking. They are consuming, not producing. And every minute spent consuming without producing is a minute, where the retrieval pathways, the pathways that speaking fluency actually runs on, are sitting completely idle. Here is a metaphor that makes this crystal clear. Imagine you want to become a great basketball player, and every day you spend 2 hours reading books about basketball. You read about shooting technique. You read about defensive positioning. You read about the history of the game. You study play diagrams. You watch analysis videos. And then, on the rare occasion you actually pick up a basketball, you wonder why you cannot shoot, cannot dribble, cannot play. The knowledge is there. The skill is not, because skill, unlike knowledge, only develops through doing. Through repetition under real conditions. Through the body and the brain working together in the actual activity. English speaking is identical. Reading about English is not the same as speaking English. No matter how much you read, no matter how deeply you understand the rules, the neural pathways that produce fluent speech are only built by one thing: actually speaking. And the hidden cost of spending years studying English without speaking it is enormous. Not just in time wasted, but in confidence destroyed. Because every year you spend studying and not speaking adds another layer to the belief that you are not ready yet, that you need to know more before you can speak. That fluency is somewhere in the future. After enough studying, that belief is the most expensive lie in English learning. And the science dismantles it completely. You do not need to know more. You need to speak more. Starting today, alright? You understand the science. You understand implicit learning and retrieval practice. You understand why traditional studying is the slow road and speaking is the fast road. Now, let me give you the exact daily method, built directly on these two scientific mechanisms. That will make your English improve faster than anything you have tried before. This method has 4 components. Each one is designed to activate one or both of the brain mechanisms we talked about. Do all for every single day. The total time required is 60 to 90 minutes. And I promise you, 60 to 90 minutes of this method done consistently will produce more real fluency progress than 4 hours of traditional studying. Component 1, immersive, meaningful input. 30 minutes every day. Watch or listen to English content that you genuinely find interesting and engaging. Not English learning content, real content. A show you love. A podcast about your passion. A YouTube channel that genuinely entertains you. The content must be slightly challenging. You should understand about 70 to 80% comfortably. That 20 to 30% stretch is where implicit learning is most active. Your brain is reaching, pattern matching, absorbing naturally. Do not use subtitles in your native language. English subtitles only. Or no subtitles if you can manage 30 minutes every day. Non-negotiable. Component 2, active shadowing. 15 minutes every day. Take 5 minutes of audio from your immersive input content. Listen to one sentence. Pause. Repeat it out loud. Exactly. Same words. Same rhythm. Same speed. Same emotional tone. Same breath pattern. Do not just copy the words. Copy the entire delivery. This activates retrieval practice. You are pulling language from your memory and producing it in real time. while also training the physical motor patterns of natural English speech. 15 minutes of focused shadowing every day produces measurable improvements in speaking rhythm and naturalness within 2 to 3 weeks. Component 3. Free speaking output. 15 minutes every day. Set a timer. Speak English out loud alone is perfectly fine. Talk about anything. Your day, your opinions, a topic from your immersive content, a problem you are thinking about, a story from your life. The only rule is, do not stop. Do not edit. Do not restart sentences. Keep the language flowing, even when it is imperfect. This is pure retrieval practice, your brain working at maximum capacity to produce English under real-time conditions. This is the component that builds speaking fluency faster than anything else. And it is also the component that most English learners skip entirely because it feels uncomfortable. Do not skip it. Component 4. Spaced repetition of natural phrases. 10 minutes every day. Use a flashcard app. Enki is excellent and free to review natural English phrases and chunks that you have collected from your immersive input. Not individual vocabulary words. Full natural phrases. Review 10 to 15 cards per day. The spaced repetition algorithm ensures you see each phrase at exactly the right time to maximize long-term retention with minimum time investment. This is neuroscience-optimized vocabulary building, and it is dramatically more effective than traditional vocabulary list memorization. 4 components, 60 to 90 minutes total, built entirely on the 2 fastest brain mechanisms for language acquisition. Implicit learning, activated by your immersive input and shadowing. Retrieval practice, activated by your free speaking output and spaced repetition review. This is not a theory. This is not a hack. This is the science of how your brain actually acquires language, organized into a daily practice that you can start right now. The fastest version of yourself in English is not waiting for more knowledge. It is waiting for more practice. It is waiting for you to stop studying about English and start living inside it. 60 to 90 minutes. Starting today, your brain already knows how to do this. Give it the right conditions and watch what happens. Science does not lie. Your brain is capable of becoming fluent in English faster than you ever believed, but only if you give it what it actually needs. Not more grammar, not more tests. Real input, real speaking, real daily practice built on how your brain actually works. Right now in the comments, tell me which of the 4 components you are starting with today. Just pick one and commit to it publicly right here, because public commitment is also backed by science. It makes follow-through dramatically more likely. Share this video with every English learner you know. This method could change everything for them. Hit like, subscribe to Fluent Speak Lab. Your brain is ready. Are you? See you in the next video. Let's go.